Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. And welcome to another rendition of Old vs. New. I hate westerns. Well, except for Tombstone. That was pretty good. Oh, and Unforgiven, that's not bad. Oh, also The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That was pretty awesome. Oh, dude, The Searchers. Now that's a classic. But luckily, this film has nothing to do— Fucking Maverick, man. That was a funny movie. Okay, there's a lot of good westerns out there. But nevertheless, this review has nothing to do with western— Fuck a monkey! Yep, it's True Grit, the film that launched a dozen Oscars. Twice. This timeless tale of a girl seeking the help of a one-eyed cowboy won audiences over in the late 1960s. But then all of a sudden, the Coen brothers came along and made what many considered to be a damn good remake. And of course, we all loved it. Why? Because it's the dude playing a cowboy! How fucking awesome is that?
The dude abides.
But which film holds up the best over time? Which one is stronger, more poignant, and, for lack of a better word, grittier? Well, in this rendition of Old vs. New, we're gonna look at True Grit. Or, as I like to call it, how many Big Lebowski jokes can I make in one review? First, let's look at our main character of the film, Maddie. Yeah, best supporting actress, my ass. She's the main character, we all know it. You're going first.
Man, come on.
Shut up! Something you're gonna hear me say a lot in this review is they're both really good. And both these performances are no exception. But they are different. The original was played by Kim Darby. She offers a determination and a great need to overcome her fears to get justice for the death of her father.
When we locate Cheney, we can jump him in the same way, hit him on the head with sticks, and knock him insensible.
In the remake, it's Haley Steinfeld. She's also determined as hell, but maybe to an extreme level. I mean, really extreme.
When Cheney is taken, he's coming back to Fort Smith to hang.
Now, I am to get Tom Cheney, and if you are not game, I will find somebody who is.
I'm afraid nothing is going to be done about Cheney except I do it.
Jesus.
To the point where she doesn't even seem human. She's like an unstoppable vengeance machine.
Not go back, not without Cheney, dead or alive.
So this creates an interesting split. You have one performance that's determined, but also realistic, and even slightly frightened by the danger she's going to get into.
His name is Tom Cheney. He's a whiskey drinker like you. Led to killing in the end. Now, if you'll just answer the marshal's questions, he'll help you.
And then you have the almost crazily obsessed little girl version of the Terminator.
If I killed him, I would not be now in this fix. My revolver misfired.
Which one is better? Well, the original version seems more realistic. You know that women, especially girls back then, were not often trained to go on manhunts. So her reactions to a lot of these grisly situations seems more believable. She overcomes her fear, but she shows that there is fear to overcome. The remake shows her almost as bitter and cold, and her lust for vengeance blinds her to anything else. She doesn't care what's in the way, she just wants to find the bastard who killed her daddy and see him hang. Nothing else can scare her, and nothing else seems of any importance. And to be honest, that's what makes her more interesting. While the other version seems more realistic, this version has much more drive, no time for distractions, and is extremely fixated on nothing else but getting her killer. It's kind of fascinating to see a child this intelligent and hungry for blood. I mean, have you ever counted how often she smiles in this movie? It's close to never. Because she is so different from our perception of what a girl in that time period would be like, that's all the more reason to find her more engaging to follow. And that makes us all the more interested in what's gonna happen in the end. While both performances are very good, it's the remake that gives us the character that we're simply more interested in following. Point goes to the new.
I hope you go to jail.
And now we go from cowgirl to cowboy. Who's better, the Duke or the dude? Another tough choice is choosing who's the best rendition of Rooster Cogburn. And to be fair, you can't really judge the performances unless you judge the actor's past. John Wayne, for example, is an iconic legend, but he was also best at playing, well, John Wayne. You never saw his films to see him slip into different characters or roles, you saw him to play John Wayne. He did it well. He did it very well. Nobody could play John Wayne like John Wayne.
First night out, you'd be calling, Mama, Mama.
Crying. Now here's $25.
Oh.
But to be honest, it left very few surprises in what you were gonna get. Like, could you see John Wayne playing the Joker anytime soon? Why so serious? Jeff Bridges, on the other hand, has played many different kinds of roles. But in my humble opinion, I very rarely see the character as much as I do Jeff Bridges playing the character. It's kind of like Kevin Spacey's acting. I'm always aware he's playing a part. It doesn't mean he's bad or anything, it's just I'm always aware he's playing the role. With the exception of a few parts.
I'm the dude.
And obviously, that goes without saying. Luckily though, this is one of those roles he totally gets lost in. Bridges is perfect as the drunk but still relatively badass gunslinger. He's sad and pathetic in many ways, but also likable and threatening when he needs to be. He was a perfect choice.
With your revolver in hand.
I did.
Loaded and cocked.
Oh, if it ain't loaded and cocked, it don't shoot.
But which one is truly the better character? Well, taking out the fact that we know we're going to be watching John Wayne playing John Wayne, it's still a good performance. He's tough, he's cunning, and he does whatever the hell he wants. Which means when he really does care for somebody like Maddie, it's all the more meaningful.
They must have all been married men that loved their families. 'Cause they scattered and run for home.
Bridges is much more of a downer. When he gets drunk, he really gets drunk. And when he gets angry, he really gets angry. Nothing is really glorified about him apart from maybe his gunslinging. He's just sort of a lost soul who tries to do what's right. That is, when it's convenient.
Don't believe in fairy tales or sermons or stories about money, baby sister, but thanks for the cigarette.
But again, that's what makes him so interesting. His character is so confident in his abilities, yet so hate-filled when it comes to his life. He constantly abuses himself and cares little about his actions. Again, that's what makes his conviction to Maddie's case more engaging. But at the same time, he flip-flops, like anyone who's insecure or drinks as much as he does.
Take the girl. I bow out. I bow out. I wash my hands.
John Wayne is the hero. Sure, he's flawed, but we all know he'll do the right thing in the end. This guy is just all over the place, which makes him much more unpredictable. We don't always know if he's reliable, or even sober. When John Wayne gets drunk, it's cute. When this guy gets drunk, it's scary. The remake truly gives us the more uncontrollable hero, and because of that, it's more fun to see what he's gonna do and how he's gonna do it. Sorry, dude, but in this contest, Bridges plays the more entertaining role. Point again goes to the new.
I ought to paddle your rump.
Well, what good is a rip-roaring adventure if you don't have a bunch of little doggies? Good God, did I really write that? Oh, God, I hate Westerns. This is Best Supporting Cast. Now you'd think because this is a Coen Brothers movie, there'd be a lot more interesting side characters in this film. Hell, their movies practically star the side characters. But the original has some good ones as well. For example, we do see the relationship, though brief, between Maddie and her father, and he seems like a nice enough guy to go and be avenged. In the remake, you don't even see her father. He just shows up DOA. Characters like the banker are great in both movies as they both give deservingly over-the-top performances.
I would not pay $325 for Winged Pegasus.
I wouldn't pay that for Winged Pegasus.
But of course, the big focus is on LeBouf. LeBouf? LeBouf? Shia LaBeouf? I don't know. The other cowboy. The original is played by Glenn Campbell, while the remake is played by Matt Damon. Now, Campbell looks like he belongs in a cowboy movie. He looks naive, but nevertheless has some idea about how to take care of himself. Look at that big, dumb grin. How can you not like this guy?
And you, dear lady, I find a sweet distraction, as I suppose most men do. Will you excuse us?
While he does have his tough moments, his chipper attitude shows he's clearly in over his head. In the remake, on the other hand, Damon plays it a little different. He's in over his head too, but not in the same way. He's very by the book, and I get the feeling that he wants to be taken seriously. He wants to be the heroic leader, but he is nevertheless out of place.
Well, why did you not catch him in Palm Bluff, Arkansas, or Monroe, Louisiana?
He's a crafty one.
I thought him slow-witted myself.
That was his act.
It was a good one.
Both are very effective and serve the story great. However, many argue that Matt Damon didn't belong in this movie, that he didn't look like the traditional cowboy character. But oddly enough, I think that works to the film's advantage. In many ways, he shouldn't be there, and when he takes off, it actually seems very fitting and in character. And I think that because someone like Matt Damon is playing him, that comes across much stronger. Again, kind of a tough call, but I think I'm gonna go with the remake. Why? Because it has the bear guy in it! I mean, who was that? Where did he come from? What's his story? We'll never know, and by God, it's killing us trying to find out!
Now, I have taken his teeth. I will entertain an offer for the rest of him.
Far out.
That guy was awesome! Point goes to the new. I love the bear guy.
I'm of a mind to give you 5 or 6 good licks with my belt.
And now it's time for the bad guys. The varmints that started this whole... Oh, God. Just segue with the Big Lebowski joke.
Human paraquat!
Thank you. This is Best Villains. Now, something that I love in both of these movies is that the killer that Maddie is going after is not a mastermind. He's not a diabolical genius, he's not charismatic, he's not even very smart. He's just some idiot drunk. And you know what? That's actually kind of refreshing. Let's face it, a lot of killings in the Old West happened because, well, there were a lot of idiot drunks. And they had guns. And if anything, he's actually following the more charismatic, smarter villain. That makes the story seem much more real and unlike traditional westerns. One is played by Jeff Corey.
I know you, little Matty, the bookkeeper.
And the other is played by Josh Brolin.
I don't think you're gonna do it.
What do you think now?
Now I'm shot by a child.
Again, both are good, but I think Corey's is a little bit more pathetic. I feel like the more low the character is, the more in vain the murder is, which again makes for a different but much stronger story. But if we're gonna look at him, we might as well look at the leader too. This is Ned Pepper, played in the remake by Barry Pepper.
Quelle coincidence!
And in the original by Robert Duvall.
I never busted a cap on a woman or nobody much under 16, but it's enough that you know I'll do what I have to do.
Even though Barry Pepper does a really good job as the leader and seems totally legit, well, he's going up against Robert fucking Duvall. I'm sorry, that's a really hard act to follow. This guy, much like the bear guy, you really want to know more about. Something about the way he speaks and holds himself, just a man's presence.
I'm happy he done what he done, but he should have kept his head and looked out for himself. Goes for your good friend Rooster.
Like, this was the main villain from a different movie, but somehow got roped into this one. Like, this guy really wanted no part with these people. Like, he had much bigger stories he was involved with, but then somehow got mixed up in this bullshit that one of his henchmen started. Again, that sort of adds to the shit happens effect of these movies. It's great. It's absolutely great. So, let's give credit where credit's due. The original really did have the better villains. Sorry guys, you did good too, just not as good. Point goes to the old.
Must think over my position and how I may improve it.
And now the defining point that always settles it, the story.